Hello and welcome to this tutorial for the game Between Two Cities Essential Edition. You are going to create a city with the person to your left and one with the person to your right. So you have to work together, but only one player can win the game. Here's how it goes. You are going to play 3 rounds and then the game is over. Then you take out the scoring pad and count up the points to your city on your left and the points of the city on your right. Of those 2 scores, the lowest one is your final score. If that lowest score happens to be the highest of all the players at the table, you are the winner. That means you have to put your best efforts into both cities. You can't ignore one and focus on the other, because the city that has the least points is your own personal score. But again, you play 3 rounds and then it ends. Whoever has the most points wins the game. First, what is a round? The first and last round is taking 9 of these tiles and using 8 of them. That last unused tile goes out of the game. When there are no more tiles left to use, the round is over. Again, you do this in round 1 and round 3. Round 2 is a shorter round and it's different. Then, every player takes 3 of these bigger tiles. You keep 2 and 1 for the city on your left and 1 for the city on your right. The other one goes out of the game. When every person at the table has placed their bigger tile, the second round is already over, and you can take 9 smaller tiles for the last round. Next, how do you play the game? What do you do when it's your turn? Well, it's never just your turn. It's everyone's turn at the same time. At the start of the first and last round, you take 9 of these square tiles, without looking, of course. Everyone takes 9 tiles randomly. Then you can look at the tiles you have. Choose 2 of those tiles to keep. 1 to add to the city on your left and 1 on the right. When you've chosen your 2 tiles, place those face down in front of you. The rest of the tiles go to the player next to you. In round 1, they go to the player on your left. Place the leftover tiles as a face-down stack under that player's figure. In round 3, you pass your unchosen tiles to the person on your right. As soon as there aren't 2 tiles left to choose, the round is over. Then, what do you do with those tiles? As I said, 1 goes to each of your 2 cities. How do you place the tiles? Can you just do whatever you want? No, that would be too easy. The first rule is that you have to place all tiles in the same direction. The icons that are depicted on the tiles have to be facing you. Both you and the other player that is also adding 1 tile to the city have to place them like that. So you can't turn it sideways. The second rule is that you must always place a tile against another tile. You can't put it somewhere where it's not touching another tile or only touching a corner. At least one side has to go against a side of a tile that was already there. And the third rule, the most important rule, is that your city must end up 5 by 5. It doesn't matter in what way you do that, the city cannot be any other shape than 5 by 5. No tiles sticking out on the side. That goes for these square tiles and the bigger tiles. The very first tile that is ever placed has to be on one of the spaces on this landscape board. After that, it's up to you how you make your 5 by 5. Only the first tile must be placed on the board. Only build on the spaces where you see the empty square, not on the land. And this little bridge here counts as a connection. If there's a tile here, you can put one here. That counts as being adjacent. The same rules apply for when you add the bigger tile to your city. But that's already it. This is how you play between two cities. You choose your two tiles in secret, but once you've revealed them, you should discuss with the other player next to you, where both of you think what is the best place to put it. And same goes for the tile that the other player is adding to it. All that's left is explaining what these tiles actually do. How do they score points? And then we're done. You can always look at this information card as a reminder for what the icons mean and how you get points. There's tiles with the green tree icon. That means it's a park. The more park tiles that you have connected to each other, the more points you get. It doesn't matter how you place those park tiles, as long as they're connected to make one big park, you get more points for it. One park is 2 points, 2 parks is 8 points, etc. You have shops, the ones with the yellow gift icon. Also points for connecting them. But shops only give you points if you connect them in a straight line, make a row or a column, or both, but you can only count each tile once for points. Then there are factory tiles, the ones with a chimney on them. The player or players who have the most factories in their city can count 4 points per factory tile. The player or players in second place can count 3 points for every factory, and third place gets 2 points for every factory. Just look around on the table and see which city has the most factories in it. Next, a city is nothing without houses. This is a house tile. It shows a little house icon on it. Each house tile is worth as many points as there are other types of tiles in your city. So if your city has only houses and parks and factories, that is 2 other types, and each house is worth 2 points. Except if a house happens to be next to a factory, then your house is worth only 1 point. It's not very nice to live right next to a factory. So you can't also count houses as a type. And there's one other type that you also can't count when you're scoring for your houses, and that is a civic. This is a civic. It'll show 2 icons of other types of tiles on it, and that is because each civic has types it wants to be next to, and at one type it does not want to be next to. If a civic tile is next to a type it doesn't like, or one that it doesn't even have an icon of, it will give you 1 point. If a civic is next to a type of tile it does like, you get 3 points. If it happens to be against both types it likes, you score 6 points. If there are businesses in the cities, there can also be offices. Here's one with the pen icon. The more offices you have in your city, the more points you get. It shows here how you can count them up. They don't even have to be connected. Just count all your offices, and the tile or your information card will tell you how many points you get. But there's more. If an office tile happens to be next to 1 or more taverns, you get 1 extra point. Only 1 bonus point, because after work, people like to go for a drink. Almost done. The last type of tile is the taverns. They have a red mark on them, but different icons. There are 4 different sorts of taverns. That's because you get points if you have sets of different types of taverns. If you only have food taverns in your city, each tile is worth 1 point. If you have one food tavern and one music tavern, that gives you 4 points. If you happen to have all 4 kinds of taverns, you get 17 points. So collect sets, and you count each set separately. We're done. This is how you play Between Two Cities Essential Edition. I hope you feel like you fully understand it. There's always the information card to remind you how scoring goes. And I hope it sounds like a fun game. Thank you for watching. Feel free to leave a comment, and see you for the next one.